What's up, everybody? Today I want to cover my most important meal prep item that gets my day going, the good old breakfast burrito. These little guys make sure I have good eats never out of reach, and there isn't a morning I don't find myself looking forward to one. I make these 8 at a time, so obviously we need a lined pan with 9 slices of bacon. I bake these off at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, flipping once until cooked to my liking. Each burrito has about 2.5 eggs, so I go through 20 for each batch. Anyone else crack their eggs on their eggs? It's strangely satisfying. Shout out to Ethan Paff on YouTube for this enlightenment. I season my eggs simply with salt and pepper and get them well whisked before getting my pan onto a medium-high heat. Get some butter in there, and when it's all just about melted, follow with the egg. Now, this is a lot of egg, thus the higher heat. If you're making less, stick to medium. I'm using a quality non-stick pan here so I can depend on its performance. I'm aiming for thin sheets of scrambled egg, ending in a medium-sized curd because this is how I like my eggs. With my spatula, I'm slowly moving sheets of cooked egg off the bottom to allow liquid egg to flow in and cook. Duh, that's how you make scrambled eggs, you might be thinking. And yeah, you're right, but there's a ton of nuance in the temperature of the pan, the speed at which you stir, and how much egg you're working with. You can clearly see those medium-sized curds coming up to the top, and after a few minutes of this gentle stirring, it'll start to come together very quickly. Now, one of the tricks to having perfect eggs in your burritos is to undercook them at this stage. Don't forget, you're going to cook these again when it's time to reheat them. Eggs are super delicate, there's no need to hammer them. When they're still wet, take them off the heat. I'll throw them right back into the bowl I mixed them in and start working on the rest of my prep. This is what you want to see. Solid enough to work with, but still moist enough to handle being reheated. I'd be happy eating these as is. By this point, my bacon's done and the house smells like breakfast. Let's make what I consider the actual most important component of my brekkie burrito. And that's gonna be hash browns. I absolutely need potatoes in my burrito. They're just not right without, for me anyway. This is a perfect opportunity to make use of the rendered bacon fat too, so back on a medium-high heat goes the pan and the drippings. These frozen hash brown patties are the perfect option for me. Exactly the right amount for one burrito and always ready to go. Once these guys are all fried up, it's time to get ready for final assembly. I like to prep my station so everything is at hand. Mise en place, if you will. The majority of the burritos are going to end up in the freezer, so I wrap them in aluminum foil after they're assembled. I buy one of these food service size rolls maybe once every 2 years. They rock. Using a burrito-sized tortilla, I like to go down with the hash brown patty first. I cut them along the bias like this so I can make a longer burrito that reheats more evenly and make sure every bite has everything. Next is what feels like 2.5 eggs. I don't measure with anything but my heart. Following that, a bit of cheese, and then of course, the bacon. By the way, I used thick cut. One slice is perfect for each burrito. On to the wrap. I'm not going to do a tutorial here. Mess it up a few times, do it poorly a few more, and then start rolling decent ones. Do this for a few weeks and you'll realize you got pretty good. You get good at anything you practice. Once they're wrapped up in foil, I'll pack them into Ziploc gallon bags in the freezer. I don't know what their shelf life is, they never last long. Let's call it a couple months to be safe. Okay, so what if you wanted to eat one right now? Then instead of wrapping it, we're going to brown it off on the stove. On medium heat, throw down just a little bit of butter and put your burrito in seam side down to seal it. Now it's easier to work with and you can take your time browning each face of the burrito. This is the ultimate expression of this breakfast burrito, and I love when I can take the time to do this. You may be wondering why I haven't put any of my hot sauces into this burrito. Well, that's because this is one of the foods I use to try other makers' sauces, and I want to taste them just as they are out of the bottle. You can feel free to use mine though. But that right there is what I consider a perfect breakfast burrito. Delicious. Most of the time when I eat these, it's one of the wrapped ones I keep in the freezer. So the night before, I make sure to take one out and let it thaw in the fridge so it heats quickly in the morning. To do this, I unwrap the foil and save it to roll another burrito or line a sheet pan later, and then wrap the burrito in a wet paper towel to keep the tortilla from drying out. Nuke them for about 2.5 minutes, flipping once halfway through. Also, don't forget to edge your microwave. It can never reach 0. It's important to unwrap the burrito while it's still hot before the tortilla sticks to the paper towel. Drape the paper towel over it as it cools so that, again, the tortilla doesn't dry out. After a minute or so, it's time to tuck in. These burritos are lifesavers in my busy schedule. They are always delicious, I never get tired of them, and they help me try out new sauces that I collect from trading with new makers I meet. I hope you try these out for yourself. You might find they become a morning staple, just like they did for me. Thanks for following along, and I'll catch you on the next one.